Now, hopefully that took care of any sound issues. Okay, YouTube, Jerome. Okay, give me a hands up. Give me a thumbs up if thank you so much, Kamara. Appreciate it. Again, I do my systems checks. Part of the reason why we're running a bit late this morning. No sound in Miami, huh? Okay. All right. Let me see what we can do about that. Give me a thumbs up. I hear sound. There it is. There it is. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thumbs up. That's my son right there. Hold on one second, because see that light there in the background? That light is it's just so harsh. So harsh. It's just completely just blasting everything. You can't make any details out at all. So let me see if I can do something about that, because if not, it's just going to irritate me. It won't irritate you, but it'll irritate me. See what I can do about that. Oh, okay. We got that on there. I didn't know. All right. Give me 1 second here. Okay. What can we do here? Oh, there we go. I think it's a little bit better. Yeah, I think it's a little bit better. I think so. What do you think? Hold on 1 second. I don't mind doing this live on the air with you. It's all part of the show, folks. It comes with the territory. I think we good. I think we good over here. Give me 1 second here. I'm doing these lights in real time. So we are 50 years. Okay, Kevin Samuels with the lighting. Nah, I don't know what Kevin Samuels does with his lighting. I like his scene though. It seems very I don't know what the word is. I don't know what the word I'm looking for, but I like it. I like it. But I'm not aware of what he does. Nate, you got the Kevin Samuels lighting going today. It's the same lights I always had. I'm just doing it in front of you this time. There's no difference. All this stuff is pretty cheap to pick up, man. I mean, they make during like home streams. It's easier now today more than it's ever been. Okay, it's easier now to put together a nice looking stream today more than it's just so easy these days. When you got a little bit of coin, hit me up. I'll walk you through the process and help you. To all my choppers, hit me up, hit me with DM. I'll carve out the time to sit on the phone with you and help you out. I would do it free of charge just to help you out. I ain't liking that. There we go. I like that better. All right, I think I like that. Yeah, I think I like that. Good morning to you. So where were we? So let me circle back around here, and I want to put up the cover for today's show. More harm than good? It's a question. 50 years of the war on drugs. There's a lot of things going on. We'll talk about Juneteenth. We'll talk about Miss Opal, who walked through Cincinnati recently, and now it seems as if her mission has been accomplished. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about some things that may not be on your radar screen, but I want to start with this month marks 50 years of the war on drugs. I want to start there. And my question for you is pretty simple. Do you believe that it's done more good or more harm? Has the war on drugs done more good or more harm to the community? Now, when I say community, I'm speaking in general. But as a Black man who creates media for largely a Black audience, I want to know what the impact has been on Black folks, on African Americans. I'd like to know, what has been the impact on African Americans? 50 years of the war on drugs. You might be surprised to know this, but did you know that since 1971, this country has spent over $1 trillion fighting the war on drugs? And what did we get for it? What have we got for it? What have we gotten for it? Since 1971, America has spent over $1 trillion enforcing its drug policy. They could have gave that to us for reparations. 50th anniversary of the war on drugs. Just say no, right? Remember that? As if that could actually have any impact whatsoever. And despite all of that, drug use in America is climbing. It's going way up, way up. And we also got to talk about racially based mass incarceration. I mean, let's be real here. A lot of people believe, and you tell me what you think, that the war on drugs was really a war on African American communities. It was used as a legal provocation to just lock a whole bunch of people that look like you and me up. Mass incarceration. And whether it was a Republican president or a Democrat president, Bill Clinton, it really made no difference. They all played the war on drugs the same way to the detriment of the African American community. I mean, think about it. I've seen videos of people getting dragged out of their cars because officers smelled marijuana. Think about that. Just think about that for a second because there's no real way to calculate it. But just think about it because I think we're all smart, intelligent people here. This is the chop shop, right?
Go! Get to the chopper!
It must be the chop shop. We're all reasonable, intelligent people. Just think about this. Like, since 1971, over the last 50 years, like how many people have been stopped? How many people have been run through the system? How many people have been had to have bad experiences with law enforcement over marijuana? Officer stopped the car. I think I smelled something, that kind of thing. Go get the drug dogs. I'll tell you, man, I mean, I've never seen the calculation in terms of how much it's actually cost us. That's why I say that I think that now everybody's talking about legal marijuana. That's reparations right there. In every single state in this country, including Ohio, especially Ohio, I think that African American entrepreneurs should be put in the pole position. That means they're up front when it comes to being a part of the legal marijuana business, because for years and years and years, the fact that marijuana was illegal, it was used as a justification, a legal justification to stop, harass, engage, incarcerate. Just think about how much money that is. Court costs, fines, lost wages because you got to sit down at the courthouse all damn day long. Anybody ever went to the courthouse for a traffic thing? You had a traffic issue. It is the most boring. It is the worst place, one of the worst places in Hamilton County to be. I hate going to court. And I'm a legal, law-abiding citizen that just loves to do the right thing. And I hate it. Last time I went down there, I went down with the wifey. You had one of the wife sheriff deputies that I hate this. I hate when I see people try to show out. That shit burns me up. Oh my God. Because you know in a different scenario, they would never be acting like that. You got primarily what I see is white sheriff deputies, all with attitudes. I mean, it's a few every once in a while, you know, but for the most part, inside the courtroom, they got to show I got control of the courts and all this kind of shit. I don't give a damn. Now, as much as I say that, I've been down at the Hamilton County courts before and seen people just acting just super stupid. It's like, what are you, Kevin Hart, down here telling jokes in front of the judge? People laughing. This shit ain't funny. I don't want to be down here. I want to leave. Last time I went down there was for, I think it was the wifey. It was something. Could have been me. I can't remember. I got put out, y'all. I got put out because I forgot to turn my phone off. And you had the white sheriff deputies barking orders. Everybody's got to turn their phones off. It's a warning. I'm like, I thought I turned it off, but I guess, the inner Nathan was like, this and didn't do it. But I thought it was off. So it rang again. He put me out. I'm like, now I got to go sit out in the hallway. It was just a bad experience. Just a bad experience. And it's just nothing. It's nothing worse than a mofo with a badge who you can smash. Okay. And he all super tough because he got a badge on. Oh my God, it just burns you up. Anyway, just think about how much money has been taken from our communities and into the so-called legal system over marijuana, over drugs and things like this. And to be honest with you, here's the thing about it. There's no way in the world that we're ever going to win the war on drugs. It's unwinnable. It's like CPS talking about our mission is to eradicate bullying. Huh? That's like mission impossible. How are you going to eradicate bullying? You can't eradicate bullying. You can get on top of it and deal with it in a way, the way they should have with Gabriel Taye. And people should still be talking about what happened. Because shame on CPS. I was just talking with a teacher from CPS just yesterday. And this person was sharing some information with me about Gabriel Taye in terms of what CPS was doing and hiding different ish. It is deplorable. It is absolutely reprehensible what happened with that kid. And I'm gonna say this again, and I hope other people pick up on this. It's a damn shame that CPS took 4 years, $600,000 fighting against the inevitable, which they were wrong, period. We teach our children that when you wrong, you wrong. Isn't that the way you want to deal with people? I know that's the way I like to deal with people. If I come to you and you wrong, period. Just deal with it. If I'm wrong about something, I'm wrong. I just got to deal with it. But not CPS. They paid $600,000 to high-paid non-black lawyers, by the way, to go to court and make up some nursery rhymes. And the only reason why they're selling right now is because the 3-panel judges from the Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals basically looked at their case and said, get this ish out of here. What are you talking about? Only reason why they're selling the case. If they thought they could be fighting it, they'd be still fighting it. But these people care about our children? You didn't care about Gabriel Tay. I got to make that point. I'm going to keep making Gabriel Tay points. I'm going to reach out to her, to the family as well, and see if we can't get an interview, because I know that his mother is trying to make some positive out of the tragedy, man. It's just burns me up. Oh, every time I think about that, it burns me up. Anybody running for school board, that shit burn you up. If you're not outraged about that, you can't get my vote. If you ain't outraged about what happened with that young boy, if you're not outraged about the way the school board handled COVID, then you shouldn't be on the school board. What you running for? You'll just be as bad as the folks we got in there right now. Got to make that point. Just burned me up yesterday because I was having a conversation again with somebody that works with CPS. Again, a lot of good people work with CPS. Don't get me wrong. I know I'm speaking in blanket statements, but that's the way human communication works. It's the way it goes. A lot of good people that work inside of CPS. It's just like officers. I got no problem with the good officers. My problem is the bad officers. I got no problem with the good people that work for CPS. My problem is the lazy ass mofos, right? The bad people that work for CPS. Y'all need to be rooted out, dispatched, and we go on and create a brighter day. But let me go back to what I started with. Again, I want to get your thoughts. More harm than good? 50 years of the war on drugs, over $1 trillion spent, and drugs are more popular today than ever before. All these efforts we're putting in, these interdiction efforts to try to stop drugs from coming over the U.S.-Mexico border. And from what I've gathered in the last 24 hours, the drugs are coming over faster than they ever come over. We got more Mexican cartels than there were 10 years ago. It's just the nature of the beast. Government cracks down, they splinter, create 2 or 3 more groups, they continue. If any kind of drug you want to get in the city of Cincinnati, you can get like that. What are we doing? What do we do? Like, when does the country look itself in the face and say, this ain't working? See, the reality is what they really need to do is legalize a lot of this stuff. They need to legalize it, and legalize it. That's what they need to do. And that way you take out the street element and you make the product a lot more safer and correct. And perhaps you can create new revenue streams. That's the reality of it. Like, right now, the country's finally found some damn sense. But to be honest with you, we should have been doing this 20 years ago. Like all the stuff we're doing with legal marijuana now, medicinal marijuana, recreational marijuana. We should have been doing this shit 20 years ago. We're 20 years late. We should have been doing this 30 years ago. But, the war on drugs was used as a provocation to harass, to intimidate African Americans. When in doubt, he must have some weed on him. Is that some weed? Oh, I smell marijuana. Meanwhile, the absolute worst drug, you know what the worst drug is? Some folks did a study about 15 years ago, and then they re-upped the study about 7-8 years ago. The conclusions were the same. They got the same culprit in both studies, 10 years apart, right? Alcohol, in terms of the overall deleterious impact to our community and your body, alcohol is by far the worst drug that human beings have ever created or that exists right now. Sum total, right? The sum total of it. With the crashes, the loss of work, the lawsuits, what it does to your body, it'll take you out the game. Now, we know that meth and these kind of drugs can have a very serious quick effect on you. We know that, but I'm just saying in sum total, that's what they found, alcohol. And it's amazing to me how, you know, you got you got some of these big sporting events, they all selling alcohol. And I'm not against alcohol consumption. I mean, I think the adults should be able to do what they want to do, but it just never made any sense to me that alcohol was legal and marijuana was not until most recently. Are you just gonna open the curtain? It's not like I shut it for a reason, son, huh? Okay. We just opened the curtain to my office. That still seems a bit washed out. Little things like that can irritate me. You know what I'm saying? Hold on one second. Oh, well, there we go. There we go. Just little things like that. No, we'll keep that. But I want to know your thoughts about this morning. 513-873-7134. Thank you so much for all the people that care enough to tell me when things are going wrong. I'm not infallible. I take it as love. I really do. I take it as love because people that don't care about you, they'll sit back and just watch you just implode. People that care about you, they'll send you a text, they'll shoot you a message, things like that. I appreciate that. Nat writes, good morning, TGIF Nate in the chat. Why is my son? He opened the curtain to my office because I've got a sound curtain there. He's got a chair. What you eating on, son? Those berries? Strawberries? He's got a chair. He's got his morning snack, and he's sitting just looking at me like this, like he's at the show. Oh, man, that's good, bro. That's good. It's one of the great things about working at home through the pandemic is that you get a chance to hang out with your little people and your big people. Grand risings, everyone. Good vibes, rise. I love those good vibes. I love them. I love them. I need as many good vibes as possible right now. Let me see. Pat writes, good morning. Joe writes, Nate, you got the Kevin Samuels lighting going on today. I never knew anything about his lighting. What, he's got some lights or something? I like his set. It seems very him, very modern. I like it. Cincinnati Black United Front. What's up? I like that. We got the Black United Front in the house. She writes, Sister Iris writes, good morning, great people. Good to see you. Milani writes, good morning. I think we're on Facebook and on YouTube this morning. I don't know what the issues were. It doesn't really matter. I'm done talking about it. I don't see no challenges. It's just opportunities. Tabitha writes, son. Keep going. You said keep going. All right, buddy. Come on over here, man. You can be with your daddy any day. Nikki Carter writes, more harm. She writes, the mandatory sentences. Man, listen, I used to hit the roof when I first started in broadcasting because one of the biggest topics was the Clinton administration. And people was running around calling this man the first black president. That used to make me so angry. How dare you? Why? Because he went on Arsenio and played the sax? You nuts. And then, as a progressive, because I still still have a gangster lean to the left politically. That's just me. But as a progressive, I didn't see a whole lot of progressive policies coming out of the Clinton administration. What I saw was a whole lot of stuff that was detrimental to our community. I used to hit the roof. And one of those things was truth in sentencing, all these mandatory sentencing things that the Clinton administration pushed. You know what I'm saying? And I understand that there was a crime wave, but hey, when America sets up a system of inequity, there's going to be a response on some level. It is what it is. I'm pro law and order with a progressive lens. You know what I'm saying? As long as it makes sense. But there was a lot of things that happened during the Clinton administration that 10, 15, 20 years later got struck down in federal courts, like these mandatory sentencing, 3 strikes laws. You got mofos going to jail for life because they stole a bicycle and it was a third offense. Like, they did all this stuff in an effort thinking, at least on the surface, that the window dressing, the lip service was, it'll be a deterrent. But it really wasn't a deterrent because people that want to commit crimes are about that life. They don't give a damn about what the rules are or how much time you get because they don't think they're going to get caught. One. And number two, in a lot of cases, they committing crimes just super on drugs, so they're not even thinking correctly. All that stuff scares the bejesus out of people like you and me, law-abiding family people, right? We're scared of that. Somebody say 10 years, you like, oh boy, I ain't gonna do that. But to mofos that's their life, this is what they do, that ain't nothing. That's just a part of the game to them. I do 10 years, I do 10 years. I don't want to, but I'm still gonna do what I do. So the impact has been that the over-incarceration of African Americans, that's what the impact has been. Other than that, I don't see anything. You know what I'm saying? 50 years of what? Wasted money, time, the militarization of our police, the over incarceration of African Americans, primarily, right? Everything that does and impact the black family, the African American family. You want to press that? Go ahead. Go! Get to the chopper! You like that? The hearts. Yes, I can't explain it to you right now. We're leveling up. Something scary. Rewind things. Okay, thank you. That's you. You pressed all the daddy's sound effects. That's what it is, man. This is what Juneteenth is all about, right? Family. Let me see. Regina writes, good morning, everyone. Good morning to you, Regina. Good to see you. Jerome writes, no, we're not pressing anything else. No. Because daddy needs that while he's on the air. Okay. One day we can go through everything. You can play with all the knobs and lights and everything. Not right now. Cool? Is that cool? Pamela writes, it's my birthday. I got to work. Damn, no celebrating for me. What? We got a birthday? Well, happy birthday. Say happy birthday to Pamela, to Miss Pam. Hi. I say happy birthday to Miss Pam. Miss Pam. What you talking so low for? You shy or something? You sitting at home. Boy. You say happy birthday to you, Miss Pam. Kamara writes, legalize weed. Yes, good to see you, Kamara. You gonna be back? Okay. Cincinnati Black United Front writes, mass incarceration. That's it. That's all I see. How do you win the war on drugs? And drugs are illegal. I mean, think about prohibition. Didn't we try this? What happened during prohibition? It just gave rise to what? Gangsters. Because you giving them something that's very, very valuable that the general public wants. They're just gonna sell it during the black market. That's it. Same thing's happening right now. They should sit down. The federal government sit down and start legalizing this stuff where it's responsible. Oh, you bringing cars in here? I don't know if that's gonna work, man. Nah, it's not enough room for that. No, buddy. No. Let me see here. Nikki writes, correct. Nadia writes, hey, what's up, Nadia? How are you? She writes, we just got more drugs. That's all we got. This is all we got. Opioids. I just don't see it. Drugs are just as available right now. If I wanted to, I could get anything I wanted right now. You can get anything you wanted right now. So what is this so-called war on drugs doing? It just became a provocation for bloated police budgets, the militarization of our police, because we got to stop the drug dealers. I knew that was going to happen. You okay? I tried to save you. Darlene writes, greetings, everyone. Happy Friday. Enjoy y'all day. Thank you so much, Darlene. You know, Father's Day is right around the corner, and this is what it's all about. So these little people. This is why I do what I do right here. He needs his haircut. This is why I do what I do right here. So look at this. This is the whole reason why I get my passion comes from. What? Okay, we're not talking like that, man. We don't do the baby talk. I told you that. So this is the whole problem. This is why I get so upset about Gabriel Tay. See, I got one. And he go to CPS. Look at him. This is mine right here. It's just the whole provocation. It's my whole energy right here. Why I do what I do. Because I know you have children that you care about just like this. They might be grandchildren or nieces and nephews, or they might be your children. That's why we do what we do. It's for the babies. Sarah writes, the war on drugs has been a political calling card on the justification for over policing and mass incarceration for our community. Correct. Jail removal of black men from their families, right? And go ahead. Means we leveling up with a good comment. That's all. See, it's just so many ways to slice this and look at it. Like, one is the actual financial cost. Like when we talk about reparations, to me, it's not just about the descendants of slaves and whatever happened during slavery. It's about what's been happening since slavery. The legal mechanisms has been get to the chopper. The legal mechanisms that's been put in place by our government that in particular impact our community. That's why when I hear people talking about black agendas, it makes perfect sense. It's got to be specific because there were specific challenges that we and the folks that came before us had to deal with. You know, we didn't arrive here at the same route as everybody else. So the way that you deal with that has to be as unique as the route was, in my opinion. To me, it just makes perfect sense. And I'll say it again. When we go recreational fully in Ohio, right, we need to make sure that black entrepreneurs are at the front of the line when it comes to getting some of that legal weed money. Because America loves its recreational drugs. They love it. It ain't going nowhere. In the city of Cincinnati, people love it. They love to go to an outdoor concert with a brew in their hands. Go! Get to the chopper! That's Junior. I'm just letting him have some fun. It's a Friday, and he's with his father. No, we don't want to touch that. That needs to stay right there. That's the volume for all these buttons over there. We want that volume to stay right there, but let me see. Nikki writes, still happening now. Right, Nikki, it is still happening now. This ain't over with. And see, for me, since marijuana was used as a legal provocation to stop people, to search their cars, to give them tickets, to put them in jail, to violate their warrants, their parole and all this kind of stuff. Well, then now that it's legal, it should be used to make things right. Get to the chopper! He's having too much fun with this, huh? You like that, huh? Tabitha writes, that card was used to tie black men into the prison system. Yes, it was. Planting of drugs in our communities. I'm just amazed at how over the years I've seen these officers overreact because they smell some marijuana. I'm like, is it that serious? Because you smell some marijuana, now you think you're dealing with El Chapo? Like, they be dealing with some of these ordinary people that might have something in their car. Let's not do that, buddy, because I'm talking still. I'm talking, so it's... What'd you say? I don't know what you're saying, but what it is? You gonna tell me what you're saying? Okay, we got a call coming through, buddy. Let's take our phone call right here real quick.
Now what we have to do.
No, that's not what we have to do. All right, here's for the phone right here. So we're gonna pop this up, and then we say, "Good morning, welcome to the show."
Good morning, Nate. How are you?
I'm doing great. Is this Danita?
It is. Happy Friday.
Hey, happy Friday to you, sis. Good morning.
So the reason for my call is there's a lot of discussion in the chat about the 94 crime bill, and I just feel like we always miss an opportunity to really discuss the 94 crime bill when we don't look at what really happened. I think we're quick to throw it at Joe Biden, quick to throw it at white people, quick to throw it at everybody, except we have to admit that the Black community has to accept some responsibility for what happened to Black people when the 94 crime bill was passed. And I think we never really want to talk about that piece. And I'm not talking about people being on drugs. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the fact that the 94 crime bill was originally supposed to be a piece of federal legislation. But what happened was You had state and local courts using the federal guidelines in order to up the sentences and send these people to jail for unimaginable amounts of time. But the first question I ask is, who elects our state and local government? We do. So when we sit at home and we don't vote, guess what happens? You get crooked judges and DAs who will find loopholes in order to lock us up. We have to accept responsibility that our vote matters, and when we don't use it, we get screwed. It's the bottom line. That is why so many people were able to be charged with federal crimes when they never should have. Right here in Cincinnati, I'm so sick of hearing about how racist Joe Dieters is, but he keeps getting reelected. We keep banging our head against the wall. We know what happens here in Hamilton County, but we don't do what's necessary to fix it. We sit in chats and we sit on social media and we're not going to vote because we want reparations and our vote doesn't matter and white people are going to do this and white people are going to do that. Well, you know what? If you keep having that attitude, nothing is going to ever change. We need people to learn how government works. Bill Clinton did not write the 94 crime bill. Presidents do not write legislation. Legislation is written by members of Congress, either in the Senate or the House. And those are people who we directly vote for when we vote. That is where legislation comes from. And a lot of times, it's not even about good legislation. Members of Congress make deals. We all know that. That's how laws are passed. It's about making the best deal. So when you don't vote for members of Congress, this is what we get. Why does Steve Chabot stay in office so long? Somebody explain that to me. You know what I'm saying? Boehner, why was he in office so long? We got to look at us and figure out what we need to do to change things. And to be honest, in my opinion, state and local elections is where it starts. And then you have to move on to voting for your congressmen and your senators. If you don't do that, you get what you get and you don't throw a fit. But I'm tired of this conversation about the 94 crime bill without looking at the fact that the Black communities were asking for the 94 crime bill. Let's not pretend that they weren't. Let's not pretend that citizens were not sick of drugs and crime in our own neighborhoods. Did anybody know that it was going to end up this way, the way that it actually did? No. But we have to accept some responsibility. When we don't do our civic duty, we get screwed. It starts at home. Isn't that what we always say? It starts at home.
Absolutely, he does. Thank you for the call. I appreciate you.
So it's not.
Oh, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead, Danita. I thought she was done. I agree with her. Generally speaking, the only thing I would disagree with is when she says that, oh, that was a good call for Danita. Good call. The only thing that I would disagree with is when she said that nobody knew this was going to happen. That's just not true. I can't, we let's not revise history. Progressives never liked the 94 crime bill. You know, at that time I was in UC, I was going to UC, I was a voracious reader. I was reading everything. Those are for different microphones. So if I had like 4 or 5 different microphones, I could plug those in and then use those for the volume. Man, I got a lot. I'm just using one right now though. So we could hook up you a microphone. You could talk as well, but I haven't hooked it up this morning. You mind if I finish doing the show? Okay. So as I was saying, progressives never liked the 94 crime bill. There was a lot of people on the left back in the mid 90s who were saying that it was going to lead to the over incarceration of Black people. I was one of them. I know this because I was reading a lot of left-leaning periodicals at the time, and I was reading all these articles. I was reading the Village Voice. I was reading The Nation. I was reading all these left-leaning periodicals, and they were ringing the alarm about the 94 crime bill. That's why I used to hit the roof, because I was informed by what I was reading. I'm like, wait a minute, this don't make any sense. Meanwhile, people run around talking about he's the first Black president. Man, if you don't, gotta remember Junior saying, if you don't go somewhere and sit down Gotta remember Junior's right here. Sometimes I forget myself. His precious little ears don't need to hear all of that. You know what I'm saying? Go sit your ass down somewhere, right? What? Oh man. So life is always better when you got people around you that love you, right? Always. I don't care what nobody says. Jerome writes, it was used to put more blacks in jail and make more money for the system. That's exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened. But Danita's right, though. There was an outcry, largely from the civil rights community at the time, that were in favor of the 94 crime bill. Because remember, there was like a crime wave. There was all this crime fueled by drugs that was happening, and inequities, inequalities, right? See, Nikki writes, an untold number of people. Maurice writes, glorious resurrection. Letty writes, it's all a game and it's business for the oppressors. They never meant for the war on drugs to be resolved. Look around us. It's evident. We have to be smarter and wiser to beat them at their game. Don't involve yourself into it. And to be honest with you, there's so many ways of looking at the war on drugs. And I want to peel back the onion and just make you think about it a little bit. Just some thoughts I have with you. So number one, I think most of us will agree that the war on drugs is unwinnable with the current strategy. And what's the current strategy? Interdiction on our borders. That's trying to stop drugs from coming from other countries over into this country. That's number one. That ain't gonna work because it's just too much money in it. There's just too much money in it. You know, you got some border enforcement officers making 60 grand a year, and somebody offer you 60 grand in one day just to turn your back. What you gonna do? You're gonna turn your back in most cases and get that money. Somebody walk up to you and say, listen, I got 100 large for you. And some trucks gonna come from here. All we need you to do is just take lunch. What you gonna, and if you don't take lunch, then we got something else for you. What you gonna do? You going to lunch. That's what you gonna do. You going to lunch. That's what's gonna happen. So it's just too much money in the game. You know what I'm saying? You know, the cartels, which if you do a little research, that's a name that was given to these Mexican organizations that do drugs by U.S. media, right? Because you got to have a name, right? They didn't call themselves the cartels. We called them that. Got to have a name when you're creating a boogeyman. But the cartels are just as effective today as they was 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50 years ago at bringing drugs into this country. And American consumers can't wait to get them. I mean, drug culture is in our music. On the last Is It Just Me podcast, Donnie was talking about how a lot of these black artists will take photographs where they're smoking weed. And it's, to me, to bring it back to this point, is that it just goes to show you just how heavily infused drug culture is in music culture. In a lot of music. That's one of the biggest critiques that people have about hip hop. Is they feel like it promotes drug culture. And it does. On some of it does. Not all of it, but some of it does. Because artists are all different. It's the truth. It's in our movies. I mean, it's in popular culture. It's everywhere. And it ain't going nowhere. Hell, the mayor of Cincinnati said that the bar industry is saving Cincinnati. So what does that mean? That means alcohol is saving Cincinnati. Drugs are here to stay. And trying to fight against what humans like to do, what makes humans feel good, is just it's just an exercise in the wrong direction. It's just never going to work. Rachel writes, war on drugs is big money. I can't see drugs ever going away. Me either. Let me see. Queen Maxine writes, there is always a genocidal agenda focused toward the Black Carbonite family via the intruders. Ronald writes, good morning, y'all, and happy Friday. Same to you, brother. Same to you. Let me see. Tabitha writes, I thought Nancy Reagan helped start that campaign. Just say no? Yeah, she did. Milk toast. Just say no. Uh-huh. That's all you got to do. Just say no. It's super. If it was only that simple. That's right up there with pull yourself up by your bootstraps, right? Junior's having fun with the soundboard, so I'm gonna let him have a little fun. It's Father's Day weekend, and this is a family show, so we do it that way sometimes. You don't want to do it too much because it loses the effect. You want to pick when you do it. So maybe wait a few minutes and then do it again. Okay. Let me see. Beth writes, preach. Deaf Mere Moments writes, cover your mouth. Cover your mouth. The baton has been passed on to the pharmaceutical companies. Oh, yeah, by the way, yeah, exactly. Deaf Mere Moments. Exactly. We ain't even talked about the pharmaceutical companies. We ain't even talked about the legal drugging of America. We ain't even talked about a generation of kids that have been prescribed all kind of psychotropic, psychoactive drugs because they ain't acting right in school. Son, I'm trying to work here. You don't mind, do you? Okay, thank you. Let me see. A whole generation of people that's been taking these psychoactive, psychotropic drugs. Who knows what the impact's going to be? You got whole industries that convince adults that the best way for you to deal with your everyday mood issues, or maybe it's male pattern baldness or some other issue, you got to take a drug for it. Go! Get to the chopper! He's okay. He's okay. All right. All right. Oh, you left all his toys here too. I wish I could show you. There's a car. There's a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. Look at this. This is what my son does. Cars.
Lego.
Yeah. I want you to grab it all and take it out of here with you, man. Just get all your stuff here. There you go. Don't grab your stuff. Okay. Oh my God, man. Dude is funny. He is hilarious. Tabitha writes, they created drugs at the pharmacy. Maurice writes, the war on drugs was a war against us. Absolutely. Now I'm doing it. The chemicals in these fake foods is just as harmful. When will it end? Soon, I pray. Thanks, Doc. It's true. That's why it's so important for us to close to deal with food deserts, because the options that people are left with are not healthy for you. It's like crack. White folks sell cocaine and get less time than a brother selling crack. Yes, they are both cocaine. Not only are they both cocaine, but the powdered form comes before you get to the rocked up form. So if you're going to have more time or a more harsh penalty for either type, shouldn't it be the original? But no, when you rock it up and it goes into the hood, oh, it's far more dangerous. Yeah, right. TNT writes, a happy Freedom Day. I want to remind everybody about the festivities happening downtown today. And you might want to go down and check it out for Juneteenth. Shout out to all the people involved. You know, as I said, I mean, anything that's positive for us, I support 100%. I can't turn my brain off, but I support. Speaking of which, I read that the Black Lives Matter mural got $125,000 taxpayer money. Is it worth it? Well, let's wait and see. I'd like to get your thoughts about that. 513-873-7134. We are taking phone calls this morning. As you know, we talked with Danita a little earlier. Good morning to you. Thank you for being here. Appreciate you in advance. Tabitha writes, what's up, little man? Terrence Rice Jr. said, pull up, LOL. Yeah, he pulled up, all right. Ronald Rice Jr. has a front row seat to the show. Yes, he does. He does. You know, it's funny. He listens to the show. He'll be reciting things back to me he heard on the show, or he'll make a comment from the next room. It's all fun and love. Like I told you, whatever I don't accomplish, hopefully I can inspire my children. I already have, actually. They both want to do YouTube and TikTok and all that kind of stuff because they're watching their father do this on a daily basis. So that's a great thing. Nikki writes, good morning, son. Maurice writes, I want to see how many people are going to be happy about Juneteenth being made a federal holiday. Well, I'm happy about it. I hope that the businesses respect it and make it a business holiday as well. Everybody makes it a holiday. Why not? And hopefully it'll spark the flame that'll lead to reparations. Because until reparations are paid, we can't even have a discuss. That's day one. That's the first step in talking about whether America is a racist country or not. I'm amazed when people say America's not racist because LeBron James is a millionaire. I don't have a goddamn thing to do with nothing. Nothing at all. Until you pay that debt, use delinquent. Period. America. Use delinquent until you pay the debt. And the fact that you're delinquent is another example of America's racist heart, period. Simple as that. Jerome writes, both are up and running. Great. Sarai writes, your co-host. He was my co-host. Yeah. New handsome co-host. Thank you for that. He gets it from me. But I say it's from his wife, from the wife. He gets it from me. Tabitha writes, I love your son. He is so inspired by you. He definitely is. I can see it. He and my daughter. My daughter she on point. I just can't say enough about her. Brother Terry writes, good morning, Choppers. Good to see you, Terry.
Get to the chopper!
Terrence writes, Junior said action, LOL. He did. He did. He just came on in and made himself home. Clinton came up with the mandatory minimum. Terrence writes, Junior needs a director's chair and a cue card. Yeah, get him a little bit higher so he's more in the frame. Nikki writes, it wasn't a deterrent for crime. It isn't. Just like the death penalty isn't a deterrent. The death penalty deters people that are law-abiding citizens. You ain't trying to get death. But if you high out of your mind on multiple drugs and or you just got this mentality, you don't give a damn about that because you don't think you're going to get caught. You ain't thinking about getting caught. Milani writes, along with Biden, he was one of the top guys in the Senate. He drove what he wanted, no questions asked. Now, it is true that Joe Biden was a major driver of the 1994 crime bill. We all know that. He's doubled down on it, saying it was exactly what we needed and that some of the side effects nobody could foresee, which I don't believe whatsoever. I just remember the times. I remember what was being written. And a lot of people really, really focused on this, and for good reason, because it led to the mass incarceration of Black and brown bodies, right? Whenever you give law enforcement these kind of tools, what did they do with it? They use it to go to the hood and to harass and detain and derail the progress toward the American dream of primarily African Americans. That's what happened. They use it to derail our pursuit of the American dream. A direct contradiction of what this country's supposed to be all about. You know, your American dream might look different than my American dream. Your American dream could be to make $1 million a year. Somebody else's American dream could be to make $100,000 a year and just have enough to take care of their family and put food on the table. It all depends. But dealing with that legal system, man, oh my God, I hate it. I hate being in I don't want to go to the courts. I don't want to see the courthouse. And I'm a law-abiding citizen. You know what I'm saying? Like the worst I do is jaywalk maybe. And I'm still trying to be, a point on that, which is only hit by cars. But I mean, I just don't want to deal with it all because I've seen that whether you're innocent or guilty, it can end badly for you, especially when you're a Black man. But again, if you don't know what we're talking about this morning, we're talking about the fact that this month marks 50 years since the start of the war on drugs. My question for you is pretty simple, very simple. It's a question that anybody can answer. And that is, has it done more harm than good or more good than harm? 50 years of the war on drugs. I'd like to get your thoughts about it. You tell me. Has anything changed? Is it winnable? What would it take to win the so-called war on drugs? What would it take? I'll say it again. They need to legalize it. Pat Rice Jr. is learning. Yes, he is. He's playing with all the buttons. What does this do, Daddy? He thinks that he's just playing with all the buttons, having some fun. That's it. Somebody writes, thank you, Junior. Floyd writes, here's the harsh truth. Okay, what is this, Floyd? I check that out, man. Danita writes, presidents don't don't write legislation. Never said it wasn't passed under his administration. The original comment was Clinton came up with mandatory minimums. I am sorry, but statements like this contribute to why people don't understand how government works. Nadia writes, good morning. Good morning to you, Nadia. Good to see you. We as people should capitalize off the already legal cannabis hemp. I remember her talking about that when she spoke with Tiffany Daniels with the Community Connector podcast. That was an excellent conversation. I agree with you. Anything that's legal, we need to be jumping on it. And when it comes to cannabis, hemp, we need to be jumping on it 100% because this is a once in a lifetime event. Like Americana loves to alter its state. Americans love to eat, to drink, to be high, to be entertained. That's just the reality of it. We love that shit. Here in Cincinnati, we love to go to outdoor events with some good food, some good entertainment, and some drugs, i.e. alcohol. That's what it's all about. Your wine. You're gonna get a Long Island iced tea. That's what people love. And you can mix in some marijuana. I go out all the time now. I smell marijuana in the air. Not to snatch on anybody in no way, shape, or form. They already know this. But on the weekends, Eden Park is like an open air, bring your own cigar. You go walking through there, it's like every car, smoke, alcohol, marijuana. That's all you smell over there. I don't have no problem with it. You know what I'm saying? You ain't bothering nobody. I ain't trying to snitch on anybody. I'm just saying. It just goes to show you just how close to the drug culture we are. And I'm saying we are. Ladies' night, where y'all going? Y'all going somewhere looking cute? You want to get you something to eat? And you got to get that drink. That just completes the whole quan. I ain't hating on you. I'm just trying to show you that you got these brand new industry coming called legal marijuana. It's about to be nuts. You're talking about billions of dollars. You're talking about generational wealth. Some of these folks in these dispensaries, these farms they be growing it, they're gonna be set up for life. I'm talking about big money, big money, big money. And why shouldn't African Americans, Black folks, who were at the tip of the spear in terms of being over incarcerated for plants, now why shouldn't we be at the tip of the spear in terms of coming up, building generational wealth over these plants? I don't see a problem with it. If you're willing to get COPD and deal with the potential health side effects, and you're a grown person, you're doing it responsibly, I say have at it. Enjoy it. I want you to enjoy it. I'm just concerned about who is making the most money off of it. Man, just wait until they legalize it. You got people love food trucks, right? You're gonna have like cannabis infused whole menus on the food truck. You're gonna have food trucks where is marijuana infused icicles and popsicles and ice cream, and oh, you love yogurt? Oh, you love yogurt? Oh, we're gonna put some THC in the yogurt. Cincinnatians are gonna eat that shit up. Lines are around the block. It's like, damn, I can't see the back of the line because that's what we like as humans. And when that day happens, I think it should be more than Nick Lachey and Oscar Robertson that makes the money. That's all I'm saying. Tabitha Rice, DJ Little Man Jr. That is DJ. That's my dude right there. Maurice writes, why does people believe in a government that has been trying to kill them? Somebody make it make sense. I'll wait. Tabitha writes, where is the war on liquor with all the drunk driver accidents? They tried it. It was called prohibition, and they lost. And the federal government said, you know what? Only way we're going to take the power back is to legalize it. They should do the same thing with all these other drugs. Just legalize it. Put it in a state store, make some money off of it, and, take it away from the streets to some degree. Like, how many people out here, when you want alcohol, you're not going to some dude that live down the block, just got a big cauldron, bubbling up some homemade alcohol, some moonshine. You don't do that. Why? Because it's unsafe. Why would you do it Why would you go and partake in an unsafe transaction when alcohol is legal? You can just go to Kroger, get yourself a brew. You can just go, and it's a much more civilized transaction. That's the same thing with these hardcore drugs they got illegal. The most dangerous thing about them is the transaction is dangerous because they're illegal. Man, just yesterday, I live in the city and I don't play no games on my street because I have kids here. And so I will snitch on your ass in a second. I will sit on my porch. I just did it yesterday. And I'm like, whoo, strange car. He just sitting there. I took my phone out. I pointed it right at him. White dude walks up the street and he starts to serve him. I'm just sitting here looking at it. They must have saw me because they got in the car and they drove away. I will take license plates. I will work intimately with my local law enforcement agencies, and I will sit on my porch when they arrest you. And I've already did it. I will call the boys on you in a second on my block. I don't want nothing to do with it because it starts with a little this, that, and the other. And then somebody gets slick with it and they try to rob somebody or steal something. Now we got a shootout. I don't need that. I got family on this street. I don't need all that. So if you do that on my street, it's going to be me that calls the police on you. It's going to be me. Brent writes, don't forget about the movie short Reefer Madness. It was used to scare white people about the black boogeyman, right? Everything used to scare white folks about the black boogeyman. I forgot about that Reefer Madness, man. We need more, not less. Some of these uptight Cincinnatians, what you need is a blunt once it becomes legal. That's what you need is go chill out somewhere and sit your ass down. That's what we need. We need more of that, not less. Nadia writes, and good to see you, Nadia. She writes, the marijuana, alcohol, beer, etc., all fall under agriculture. We can really monopolize off all of these industries by entering into the agriculture industry. My organization, Educate and Empower Black People Through Agriculture. If anyone is interested, we are offering another course in September. You can register, and then she got the link there. Well, then what I'll do, Nadia, is make sure I circle back around in like August just to remind people about what's going on. And feel free to hit me up. I respect what you're doing there. She's right about that. There's some of these industries that we seem to have abandoned that are so critical. We so critical. So critical. Let me see. There's just a loss. It's lost knowledge that we just don't have anymore because we all civilized. We got microwave ovens and open air fryers. And like, how many people know how to get their hands dirty and actually plant and grow something? To me, that is a super huge, huge, huge skill. It is a huge skill that we need to stay in point with. Brent writes, the 94 crime bill gave financial incentives to the state to adopt the stricter guidelines. I believe you're correct. I believe I remember that as well. Politically Petty podcast show. You should check it out. It's pretty dope. Writes, preach, Danita. Ronald writes, she flowing. She was on the flow. Superlative flows. Somebody writes, facts. She's right. And then 15% of Cincinnati went out and voted. Now, that was a primary. I think that we should be looking at maybe 30%. We might even get ahead of 30% because there's so many open seats on council that might generate some excitement that there could be some real change in the electorate. So I'm gonna go ahead and predict that we're gonna go above 30% in the election this year. I'm just a prediction. I could be wrong. Sarah writes Racker, absolutely. Maurice writes, voting is telling those you don't see who you want to rule over you. Okay. Let me see. TNT writes, presidents have veto power. We need more voter in politics and credit counseling taught in elementary schools. I would in elementary schools. I'm with you. They don't have time for that. So I'm with that. But if we're going to do that kind of stuff, I think that the best place for it would be in before and after school programs. Then you can extend the learning during the day and then offer these programs. I said it because I used to do that. That was my job. That was my old job, to look at the curriculum in a particular school and then extend the school day and extend the academics and then bring some of these other elements in, man. We did all kind of stuff. You name it. I think outside the box. So The kids in my program, they were exposed to things that every kid don't get. But when you got me as a director, you got an out of box thinker, and I got a budget, man, we did it all. We stretched the boundaries. That's why I was recognized excellence wherever I go and whatever I do. You see, Nikki writes, the community was asking for these laws too, as I understand that's correct. There was a big outcry, I believe the NAACP at the time. I could be wrong about this, but I believe they were in favor of it, along with the Congressional Black Caucus. I'm talking about the national. I could be wrong about the NAACP, but I do know the Congressional Black Caucus was in favor of it. And you had a lot of black pastors and preachers that were in favor of it in the mid 90s. And they didn't really think it all the way through. They didn't really heed the warnings that were out there. You see, Nikki Rice, facts, Danita. People skip over that part. Let me see. Fame writes, Danita's call was very elitist, if we being honest. Elitist? Okay, I didn't hear that. You can call in and explain. Let me see. David Rice Jr. Somebody writes, he is so cute hanging with his father. He looks so small next to me, don't he? That boy gonna be bigger than me one day. I can't wait for it. He gonna be a beast. Whatever he do, if I'm alive, he gonna be a monster at it. You can believe that. Nat writes, it's called Obamacare, not Congress care. Right. That's a nickname that was given to it. It's actually called the ACA, the Affordable Care Act. The Affordable Care Act, ACA. Sarah writes, am I getting washed out? Because things like that, I don't know, it seems like that light's getting a little bit brighter. I don't know. I kind of like it, though. I kind of like it. Nathan Ivy, I can't stay on, have a business day for my grandson. Big title fight tomorrow. Before I exit, I want to give a big shout out to all fathers. Happy Father's Day. Thank you for manning up and living out that fatherhood is all about. Keep trying. Your sons and daughters still need you. Even though your father may have been absent in your life, it's more the reason you should be available. Make the time and stop making excuses. I wish all the fathers the greatest love of Yahweh's. It's better to be protective than not to be active at all. Have a happy Juneteenth weekend, everyone. What a great message there from Letty. And I wish the best for, is it your grandson? I wish the best for your grandson in his big title fight. I saw you posted that, man. I wish the best for him. Again, if Cincinnati's in the fight or some local connection, I'm always with that, 100%. Before we get too deep in the show, I want to remind you about an upcoming community event. This is something that I think could be a real positive thing. My Legacy Matters Teen Father Resource Fair. It's June 22nd. That's Tuesday coming up next week, 5:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. It's produced and promoted. The good people behind it are the Rosemary's Babies Company. They're at 4439 Reading Road. Teen fathers 13 to 19 and their children are welcome. You can register online for a free gift at www.rosemarysbabies.co. This is a drive-through event, so you don't even have to get out of the car. And what I'm asking you to do this morning is when you see this flyer, I'm going to post it directly after the show on my personal page. Please like and in particular, share it. If you read it, if you think it's something that can be positive in our community, then share it. That's all I ask. And that's all the good folks at Rosemary's Babies Company is asking as well. Just share it. You know, if it's not for you in particular, maybe somebody on your friends list can get something out of it. And I hear a lot of things said about in terms of resources and events about teen mothers. This is about teen fathers. And of course, this is Father's Day weekend, so it all makes perfect sense. Again, My Legacy Matters Teen Father Resource Fair, June 22nd from 5:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. And this is a drive-through event, right? You don't even have to get out of the car. You can just drive through, pick up the resources, and keep on with your day. And they made it nice and simple for you. So again, if that's something that you can respect, if you're like, oh, I think that's a good cause, then share it. And share it on your Twitter, share it wherever you feel like you want to share it. Tabitha writes, I thought Nancy Reagan came up with Just Say No. I don't know if she came up with it, but she definitely was the face of the Just Say No campaign, which makes no sense whatsoever. Nikki writes, he getting the hang of these sound effects. Yeah, he was going in on them. Ashley writes, hi, Junior. He's already gone now on his way to summer school. Brent writes, don't forget that Ritalin is classified the same way that cocaine is. Yeah, all these drugs they giving the kids. Last 20 years, man, you've seen an explosion of the type of drugs they give the children for hyperactivity and all these kind of stuff. Man, don't let them get your kids these drugs before you do and exhaust all available strategies. You show me a hyperactive kid, and the first thing I want to know is what is their diet and what is their activity like? That's you start right there. What's the diet? What's the activity level when they're not at school? Start right there. Do not start with no damn Ritalin and these other drugs, mood altering drugs. But again, the pharmaceutical companies, they got us. They got us. Everything's microwave technology, right? We want it right now. Quick, quick, quick. Can I take a pill? Speaking of which, they're coming out with an antiviral pill that you can take to prevent you and from getting COVID. And if you get it, to keep the symptoms down. And the pharmaceutical companies are working on this right now. They're going to be rolling this out. So if you don't want to take get the vaccine, you can take some antiviral pills. What? Everything's about a pill these days. Well, anyway, there is a movie, American Made, with Tom Cruise that shows how the war on drugs started, based on a true story that focuses on the double-sidedness of the CIA. American Made with Tom Cruise? I'm sure I'm not hit with that. Not sure I'm hit with that. I don't know. What's your favorite war on drugs or American drug movie? One of my favorites was a movie called Traffic. And it actually has some scenes in Cincinnati. What I thought was so dope about it is that it came out like 10 years ago, maybe a little longer than that. Matter of fact, let me look up Traffic. Traffic was dope. It had Don Cheadle in it and some other people. Uh, it was super dope. If you've never seen that and you're into those kind of movies, you should definitely go check out Traffic. 2000. It had Benicio del Toro in it. Michael Douglas was in it. He played a federal judge that lived in Indian Hills. So there's actually some scenes of Over the Rhine. Like if you want to see the old Over the Rhine, go watch Traffic. And you can see the old Vine Street because they shot some of it on Vine Street and around that whole area down there. I'm like, it's just amazing how much has changed. Dennis Quaid was in the movie. It was super dope because Michael Douglas was like a federal judge who was tapped to lead the DEA agency or something like that, I believe, right? He lives in Indian Hills, big home, manicured lawn. Daughter's going to private school. I think she was going to like Cincinnati Country Day or St. Ursula or something like that in the movie Traffic. I'm not making it up. And so while he's the drug enforcement, he's the drug czar by day. At the same time, his daughter is trading sex for drugs down in the OTR. I'm not making it up. That was literally the plot. There's a scene where she was having sex with a dope dealer for money, and it was graphic. I never forget it. I was in a movie theater. There was a white woman right next to me. I was at the Kenwood Theater. I never forget it. And the scene came up where what I just described to you was happening, and she did one of those. I just, I just laughed to myself like, hey, it is what it is. She's trying to get them drugs. Let me see here. Nate, I'm really going to need you to add Junior on your PPE loan application as an employee. The feds are listening. That's hilarious. I won't be doing that. I heard Amazon is striking down the something test on marijuana to get hired. Okay, they should. The Ritalin given to our children is just as potent as cocaine in some SAE classes. Is that right? Andrielle writes, morning, all good to see you, Andrielle. Drop Squad writes, shout out to all the fathers in the chop shop. Oh, absolutely. 100% to all the fathers out there because, fatherhood is a job. It comes with a lot of pleasures, but fatherhood is a job. And that's even if you have children with a woman that you can stand. Because some of these dudes out here had children with women and you can't stand them and they can't stand you. It just makes that whole co-parenting thing even worse. Makes it all the worse, right? But there's a lot of joys in it as well. A lot of joys. And see, for me, having a son and a daughter with my wife, I'm getting a chance to see what it's like to be a father of a female and a male, right? Which is a very unique experience. And then I get a chance to have a junior. And what man doesn't want to have a junior? Again, I'm gonna say something to the fathers out here. I just do not understand any man that has a firstborn son and you don't name your son after him. I just don't get it. I don't understand. I've heard people say, I don't like my name. It ain't about your name, it's about your legacy. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing more um uh legacy building than having a junior. I mean, it's mofos out here that are name their son after sports professionals than themselves. I'm thinking, what? I don't get it. I'm on my high horse because I'm a senior. I got a junior now, but I don't understand that. I don't get it. I'm gonna have a son and then name my son after some motherfucker. That makes sense? No, that's my boy. I want the world, the universe to know. I want him to know it. You know what I'm saying? He's of me, so I don't get it. I think it's weakness, quite honestly, but it is what it is. Tabitha writes, I took my son out of CPS because they demanded he needed medicine. I removed him, and now he's a straight A student in private school and was just smart. I can see that. I can see it, man. I mean, CPS has a lot of work to do, and it starts with leadership. You show me any organization, it starts with the leadership. It starts with the person or persons at the top, the tone that they bring to the workplace, the attitude that they bring to the culture. That's going to trickle down to everybody else in the organization. I don't give a damn what organization we're talking about. This is the way the world works. Maurice writes, with all these satellites supposedly in the universe and all this technology, they can't stop the war on drugs. Come on, people. No, they can't stop the war on drugs because there's too much money in the game. Like I said earlier, I've read articles about border agents being bought off where you got border agents making 60, 70, 80, $90,000 in some cases. And then the cartel will say, look, I'm going to give you $90,000 in one night. All you got to do is just go take a nap. Just go take a nap and make sure that the door is unlocked. We'll do everything else. Or we can cut your fucking head off and put it on a pike. And if you don't like that, we'll go after your family too. Now, what you gonna do? What you gonna do? You gonna take that 60 grand and shut your damn mouth. That's what you're gonna do. That's what I'm gonna do. That's what you're gonna do. So when you're dealing with those kind of you're dealing with that kind of motivation, what do you think is gonna happen? You gonna take the money. It's as simple as that. You take this money, or we gonna take your head off your shoulders. What you gonna do, border agent? Oh, okay, you gonna take this money? Okay, I thought you was. So I mean, you can't win in those situations like that. Mofo, you dealing with regular folks out there, they roll up on you and say something to you like that. They show you a picture of your kid at school. What you gonna do? You gonna shut your mouth and take that cash. Because if you don't, you already know, man, some of these cartels don't care. They mean what they saying, period. And so when you're dealing with human beings are highly corruptible. Highly corruptible. You put a big bag of cash in front of a lot of human beings, it'll motivate them to do all kind of stuff, let alone intimidating their family. You can get a human being to do damn near anything if you intimidate their family. It's the truth. And you're going to add some cash to it. It's like, well, shit, I might as well take this cash. So that's the reason why you can't stop it. It's just too much money in it for everybody. It's just a tremendous amount of money. And, being honest, just don't pay as much. And then, if you one of these border agents, law enforcement officials, you putting your life on the line, you got the community, every time you make a mistake, they want to shout you down, they want to burn you in effigy, and you're not making enough money, you might have marital issues, you got health issues, and then you in the room with a big old, just a table full of money and drugs. That's a hell of a thing for some people. Some people, it is what that's not, they built from a different cloth, so they can't really be swayed about those kind of things. Some people, they're going to jump on it quick. They're going to jump on it quick. Let's see here. Until Black America is made whole from being sold, then this nation has no soul to be whole. Okay. I like it. Poems. Natasha writes, great morning, my people. Good to see you. I heard they trying to stop teaching Black histories in school. Yeah, CRT, critical race theory. It's just the latest thing to scare white conservatives about. White conservatives are like the scariest people in America. Because every little thing that happens, they want to be afraid of. It's like the Republican Party, man, they got it so good because they just keep using fear as a motivator, and it works pretty well. I kind of like this lighting, actually. It works pretty well. Jenny writes, my goodness, they already only teach minimal Black history in schools as it is. Martin Luther King Jr. and the Civil Rights Movement is the only thing I remember as a Black history topic in school. Right. I don't remember Black Wall Street ever coming up. Nikki writes, nothing has changed and it's not winnable. Maurice writes, it amazes me how many people love them some Biden. Even though I posted him as a senator saying, lock us up, and the leaked video of him as president saying, we are destroying America. Jamal writes, the legalization of weed is enough proof that the war on drugs was unsuccessful and racially charged. I agree with you. David writes, where did Junior go? Is he on commercial break? No, he had to go to summer school. He's going to summer school. His mom took him to summer school, so he's on his way there. He should be there now. Should have been there, actually. Let me see. Angela writes, good morning, Nate and the Choppers. Good to see you, Angela. And we back on Facebook, everybody. So I'm not sure. I work with the people on my side. I even had I conversed with the people from Facebook, which is very, very rare because usually they just send you an automated message. But I was able to actually converse with somebody, and maybe things have been dealt with. I don't know. Either way, I've got some things we're going to put in place and change it up a little bit. Shannon's in the house. She writes, the Black Caucus voted on it, and all of our parents and grandparents did too. They were deathly afraid of their own Black kids. Hey, good morning to you, Shannon. Yeah, the Congressional Black Caucus was in favor. I remember that. You had a lot of these civil rights era individuals that was for it. I never was. I thought it was going to lead to the over-incarceration of Black folks. I thought that because I was reading periodicals like The Nation and others that were saying that. They had these left-leaning columnists and journalists that were saying and presenting this information. So I'm like reading this on one hand, and then I'm looking at the conversation in the mainstream press. It just wasn't congruent. It didn't add up. So no, I'm not surprised that we had an explosion in the prison population because that's what it was designed to do. Truth in sentencing, meaning that if you get 20 years, you do 20 years. 3 strikes and you're out, meaning that if you get 3 felonies in certain states, then on that 3rd felony, you can get a life sentence no matter what the 3rd charge was. People going to jail for life for stealing pizzas, bicycles. This is what they wanted. Because rather than compete with the Black man for the affections of Black women, they just use the legal system to hit you with a whole bunch of time to make you less appealing to the Black woman. And some Black women fell for it. Ain't no Black men out here. Well, that's because on some levels of the war on drug was a war on Black men. They'd rather have you locked up and deal with you that way than to have you graduating from college and deal with you that way. Forces in American culture they get a whole lot more out of you being an ex-con than you being an entrepreneur, right? And they can kick you out the way and then move in with your woman, the Black woman. And some Black women, they love that. I'm just saying, that's the truth. I want a man that's equally yoked. I get you. Brent writes, will Z-Dog MD be at the alt middle protest in Cincinnati? Z-Dog MD, who is that? See, talking to I don't even know who that is, bro. Shannon writes, we not about to act like the crack days weren't terrifying. I was a child. It was the worst. I think the most terrifying thing for me, Shannon, when it came to crack cocaine was the way that America responded to it. So rather than responding to the crack cocaine epidemic with love, with empathy, with treatment, we in America, we reacted to the crack cocaine epidemic with scorn, judgment, uh, 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 penalties. No, we didn't react the same way to the crack cocaine epidemic as we, as a country, have reacted to the opioids. With opioids, it was nothing but love and understanding and empathy. We all got to learn how to administer Narcan. Oh, Lordy, Lordy, we have to show love. And where was all this love when it was a crack cocaine? Because it was black and brown faces. So it's so easy to further criminalize them. You should be better than that. How'd you let yourself get on crack cocaine? What's wrong with you? You're a bad mother. Oh, we're going to lock you up. You're going to have to detox in the prison, right? Coming to opioids, it's like, you know what? What is putting them in jail gonna do? We all got to learn how to administer Narcan, right? It was all about love. So to me, that was the most horrific thing to me, Shannon, about the crack cocaine days. It was terrifying. The way that we reacted to them folks, telling crack jokes. Barack Obama said, "Oh, it must be crack in this pie." See, nobody says it must be opioids in that pie, because it'd be looked upon as disrespectful. It would be wrong. It's not funny. But we love crackhead jokes. We love that. It's fun. How you crackhead? It shit ain't funny. It never was funny. It's way different when the addicts were looked upon as good white folks. When the addicts were just good black folks, what's wrong with you? You should do better. You should have been smarter. Okay. Yeah, you want to detox? Sure. 6 months. You can detox in 6 months, can't you? Yeah, no love. Opioids, nothing but love. Oh, it could happen to anybody. We got to show more empathy, right? The hell out of here. Appreciate the comment though, Shannon. But no, that's your opinion. I can't take it away from it. But my opinion was it was the way that our country reacted. That was the most terrifying thing. Because you could really see how much they really don't give a damn about us. Republican lead states absolutely are. This is why voting in local elections are important. State laws affect us the most. It is called Ohio Department of Education, which sets graduation requirements that school districts and school boards adopt that will make up that curriculum. I mean, facts on facts on facts. Tabitha writes, I have a great garden. You know what? I love the whole garden thing. Like I said, I grew up with my grandparents. I spent a lot of time with them. When I was about 16, I went to go live with them for my last few years in high school because my mother was living out in the suburbs in Green Hills. We ain't had no money. It was Section 8 housing. We was broke. We was the poorest people on the block, but we had a good home. And my grandparents lived in Walnut Hills, which was close to my school. So I went to live with them and spent a lot of time. You spend every summer with them, spend a lot of time with them. And they had a garden. They used to grow greens and turnips and grapes and all that kind of stuff. I remember taking grapes off the vine and eating them. Now, that's kind of nasty today because like you ain't gonna wash that off, but I was a kid. It's fun to take something off the vine and put it in your mouth. My grandmother would go in the back and pull up the greens and then walk them into the house. They have dirt and worms and all kind of stuff. She would actually clean them. I get to watch that process. Same thing with fish. We would actually go fishing. They bring the fish home, gut the fish right there in front of you. I get a chance to watch all of this, skin it, the whole nine. I learned how to do all that shit. Just watching them. And we should all be so lucky to have a nice little garden, man. That's the healthiest shit you ever gonna have. It's when you do it yourself. I respect it. Rachel writes, in Jamaica, everyone is allowed 10 plants per property. The U.S. needs to adopt the same after legalizing weed. Right. You can grow your own medicine. You don't need to go take ibuprofen. You can get yourself some marijuana, grow it yourself. I've got no problem with it. I trust Americans to do that. It's the government that don't trust you. And really, it's the big pharmaceutical companies for a long time that was putting up a lot of resistance to the legalization of marijuana. The reason why is because marijuana is something that people can grow themselves. And you can use that instead of buying their over-the-counter drugs that have all these different side effects to your gut and your system and all that kind of stuff. You can just grow yourself a marijuana. And they never want you to do that. They don't want you to grow your own medicine. They want you to go to the pharmacy and buy their medicine, even though it's got all kind of dangerous side effects. The Partnership for a Drug-Free America does not want a drug-free America. They want an America that's free of the drugs that's competing with the drugs that they're selling, i.e. the over-the-counter drugs. That's all that shit is, man. Everybody know that. May writes, my mom always had a garden, but I don't have a green thumb. Drop writes, public schools need to teach black children about economics and entrepreneurship before critical race theory. Cash rules everything around me, BND. Nah, I don't think it's an either or, it's both. I think critical race theory should just be a norm. And at the same time, they should integrate economics and entrepreneurship. But I'm here to tell you that school day in most cases is already jam-packed. There's very little time to add something like that unless you're going to add it into a particular course. So before and after school programs become even more important because then you've got more time. You can do those kind of programs after school. Danita writes, Fame is just mad at me because I used the Billy Madison quote on him the day he called in and was all over the place. He'll be my friend again later. Pam is a good sport. She understands how this works. Sissy Tigers writes, good morning. Maurice writes, may the Most High Yah bless him and all of his children. Just Teach writes, Travis Smiley has reportedly purchased KBLA out of LA and has support dollars and is back. KBLA. This. Let me type that in and see what I come out with. Okay. Fired from PBS, talk show host Travis Smiley makes comeback bid with purchase of LA radio station. Okay, I like it. Happy for Travis, man. Let me see here. That's nice. I always liked Tavis. He was doing some dumb shit, man. He got himself fired, chasing. You don't go after subordinates. When you own a company or you're the primary voice in the company, you don't use that to chase women. That's not what you do that somewhere else, man. You gotta have some damn. What is this? You gotta have some damn dignity, man. You know what I'm saying? Have some dignity. Have some pride. Jericho writes, am I the only one who cringes when they hear the name of the company Rosemary's Babies? I don't cringe. Are you doing that because of the old school horror movie? Was it called Rosemary's Baby? Something like that? I don't even make that association, so no, I don't cringe. Nat writes, Carter, Clinton, Bush, Obama, Trump, and Biden all had both houses at one point in their presidencies. Did they? I have to think about that. Maybe you're right. Brent writes, major props to all the fathers who have taken care of their children and families from day one, and those fathers who stepped up to the plate afterwards. Okay. Nancy Reagan was the DARE campaign. Yeah, which was just say no. TNT writes, happy Father's Day to all the kings building a nation. Janine writes, because of the movie Rosemary's Baby, same here, and I heard about how creepy that movie is. It is a creepy movie. You know, Rosemary's Baby, that's why it's a classic. You know, I'm a horror fan. I love that genre of movies, and I'm well aware of it. Yeah, it was a dope movie. You know, the original was dope. They did a new one not too long ago. That was pretty good. I think they had a short-lived series as well. I thought that was good. The whole concept, if you don't know, basically, I won't spoil it for you, but essentially, Rosemary is a woman who is in love. I'm not sure if she's a newlywed, living in New York, got a nice, fabulous apartment, and then some creepy things start to happen around her with her neighbors, and she starts to notice a change in her husband as well. And it's all because they're Satan worshipers, and they're using her body as a vessel to bring forth the Antichrist. So there it is. I think I may have spoiled it for you, but if you can forget that and go watch the movies, you'll probably like it if you're into horror. Just stopping in to say, hey, have a great weekend, choppers, and happy Father's Day, Nate. Thank you so much.
Get to the chopper!
Thank you so much, man, to the choppers. Appreciate it. Jamal writes In Too Deep. That was another movie from Cincinnati, right? LL Cool J, Omar Epps. Yeah, they called him God in the movie. Remember that? I like the John Singleton series Snowfall about the war on drugs in South Central LA. I haven't even watched Snowfall. No, you gotta take my black card, I know, but this daughter was a dope fiend. His daughter was hooked on dope in Traffic. Traffic was good because it showed the complete cycle of the drug trade from the cartel all the way down to the dope fiend. Daryl writes, Traffic is a good one. Cocaine Cowboys documentary Griselda Blanco did not play. Cocaine Cowboys is a great 2-part series. You got to watch both of them. Super good. I tried to get that brother on. We conversed for a little bit. I was never able to make it happen. I thought he did great work with those documentaries, man. Highly entertaining, both of them. Politically Petty writes, I call him Junior, but I named him Miles. He started calling me Pops. I feel like Fred talking to Lamont. That's funny. Crystal writes, good morning. Good morning to you, Crystal. Let me see. Eb G writes, the system is not broken. It's doing exactly what it was set up to do. Absolutely. Appreciate it. We all know that. Charlie Winburn's announced. He writes, good morning, great people. And remember one thing. If you want to help unhappy people, just be happy yourself. Okay. With that. Cleopatra Jones writes, they wanted to show love now because it's their people, little white boys, little white girls strung out on the streets. Absolutely. Z-Dog MD, as we as a country, as an alt-middle YouTube channel, just wondering if the Cincinnati alt-middle is an affiliate. If not, they need to file a cease and desist order. Is that right? Tabitha writes, the Narcan people got rich. Yes, they did. So listen, before I roll out of here, I want to say a couple things. I just want to remind you about the My Legacy Matters drive-through event that'll happen on Tuesday of next week. When you see this flyer, please share it. It means everything. Please share this flyer. Team Resource Fair is going to be on June 22nd between 5:30 and 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The Rosemary's Babies Company are putting it together. 4439 Reading Road is the location. This is a drive-through event. You don't even have to get out of your car. And this could be a real resource for teen fathers as we get ready for Father's Day. So do your due diligence if you feel compelled to do so. I appreciate you in advance. Coming up today at 12:30, you got the Is It Just Me podcast with Donnie B. On Sunday, you got Straight Talk with Edna Howe. And then at 10 a.m. on Sunday morning, and then at 5:30 p.m., you got the ladies of the Melody Insights podcast. We just continue. Then check back on Monday for Brother Christian Boykin with the Echo Chamber podcast. We just keep on building. If you want to support me or this platform and what we're doing, you can do so very, very easily. If you want to make a donation, you can do so via Cash App and PayPal to the Nathan Ivy Show. It's really Nathan Ivy Show, no the Nathan Ivy Show. I know that's customary. People talk directly to their audience. And then everything that we bring in goes straight back into what we're doing. I really appreciate you. I am again, now that COVID is breaking, just to give you some insights about the show. I'm always going to maintain a home studio, but I'm looking for a new studio space. I've got a couple in mind that I'm sort of drilling down to, and this will be a space where, of course, I can do my show. All the folks that do shows with us right now can, but even more. So I think it'd be something that'd be really, really dope. I'll let you know when I get when and if I get the thumbs up. I'll share it with you and take some photographs, all that kind of stuff, and let you see what could be a new space for what we're doing here. All right, just to give you a heads up. So all proceeds go back into building. I appreciate you in advance. Have an excellent rest of your weekend and your Friday. To all the fathers out there, man, there's good fathers and doing the right thing by their children. I appreciate you. To all the stepfathers out there, I appreciate you. All right. Have an excellent rest of your day. Thank you for being part of our conversation this morning. Please like and share today's show. It means everything. And I'll be back with you real soon. Remember our motto. Say it with me. Winners focus on winning. Losers focus on winners. So stay focused and stay winning, and we'll talk real soon. I'm Nate Ivy, and I'm out.
Yeah. Talking to my mirror like I love you so much. Curving on my critics like I heard you, so what? You can't kill my confidence, I think I'm the man. Tally all the I ever gave on my head. Lately I've been living like I can't take a loss. They ain't wanna help me, that's what made me a boss. You can't kill my confidence, I think I'm the man. We don't give a that's what they don't understand. I'm back again like flu season. I broke records while loose leafing. I'm coming down my roof, leaving. Don't give a I don't care. Did the for my lonesome. No wonder now I'm on one. No shortcuts on that long run. All I really want is my share. Get on my God, I told him it's nothing. In the discussion, got them feelings I throw all my pain on percussion. It's disgusting. I hear them bragging about that they did, and it do not move me, not in the least. They ain't been dropping no seeds in the soil, but swear